Welcome to One Regime, Sophia Pilot into the universe of Chinese. Let's continue exploring ocean/industrial age concepts. 处刑. Okay, today's word is a little bit horrifying because it's talking about a capital punishment, aka execution. Okay, it sounds like X, like cut your head off, kind of bloodiness. And this is how Japanese scholars pick these two characters. Okay, 处. Normally, it's pronounced as 处. When we talk about location, where things is at, then that's 处. When it's 处, it changes sound. It also changed the property of the word from 处. From 处 means location to 处 means action, means 处刑 means taking action at this place. Okay. How 处 is expressed? We can see this is one of the rare chances that 处, simplified version, and 2,000 years ago look alike versus traditional Chinese actually got something extra added to it. Okay, that's because in the simplification of Chinese process, there is one branch of the ways to simplify it is to go all the way to the origin of story. Believe it or not, at the beginning of the birth of new characters, things probably were simple. And sometimes over the history, when it evolved, scholars add things to this to help with the pronunciation in this case, or make it more specific meaning, kind of create a little bit of extra, with extra stroke to give you extra details there. And when simplification of Chinese happened in 1958-ish, scholars sometimes go all the way to the original version that skipped the middle part, that somebody adds something, and that has been used in like 2,000 plus years, which is reflected in the traditional Chinese. That's before the simplification, and simplification is going back to the origin. Normally, the traditional looks more like the 2,000 years ago, because in the simplification process, things get simpler. Okay, so what this 处 originally means? Okay, this character or this part, pictograph, is about walking backwards. Okay, took me some time to realize why it's walking backwards. Okay, first off, we have a shoe symbol for ancient shoes. So before we have a complicated industrialized way of Nike type of molded shoe, right? The sole of the shoemaking and how to connect the sole to the rest of the fabric, the mobile part. It's quite an engineering thing. Before then, kind of a look at a Japanese, contemporary Japanese, traditional Japanese costume when they have shoes, because they probably preserved the old way of shoemaking. That is to creating two decks. One, the bottom is touching the floor. The top is where your foot at. The whole purpose of shoe is to provide a cushioning, right, between your feet and the ground. I don't want to get dirty footed or worse, get piercing, things on the ground. So this two deck of sole have an upper and lower to separate, combined by this one vertical line, and normally is piercing toward the top, and that's the shoe, ancient regular shoe. I should put that symbol on here. But over here, the top part was wiped out, and then you have the bottom, as if you're emphasizing not the top deck, but bottom deck of things. So, okay, another background knowledge about Chinese, a specialty of Chinese, is unlike English, we default orient ourselves forward going toward the right like your number line, your coordinate system, numbers get bigger when it's going toward the right side of the axle, right? That's like trained in our brain. We don't even think about it, right? Going left, that means negative number, right? What are you talking about? For Chinese, orient toward the left. So leftward walking is forward walking. And when the shoe is pointing downward and kind of this way, like the contemporary Chinese are showing, that's almost like pointing toward the right. That means backward walking because otherwise it should facing forward toward the left. And then this big arch thing, a few episodes ago, we talked about resist. That could be one version of resist, but it could here is the furniture, piece of furniture back then, almost like a stand, floor level chair. So before the invention of chair, something propped up, almost like a cushioning, propped up. That's, I guess, soft so that you can recline onto. And if you walk backwards onto this thing, this furniture on the floor, then you're going to stop in there, right? Because nowhere else to go. You bumped into something, almost like a human version of a rumba, right? You go all the way to this, bump into that. When you back into that, your eyes are not there, so you cannot even step over. That you're going to stop. So we use this very tiny detail of ancient lifestyle, both ancient shoes and ancient furniture, to create imagery of you backward into this furniture, and therefore you're stopping there. And by stopping in there, that's how we locate you. So it's almost like this spot thing, I believe it's a Ramba, right? Bumped into this furniture and then it's stopping there. So that's exactly it's a human version of it. And then somewhere in history, some scholar decided to add hu, the top part of tiger, on top of it, probably to make the sound more pronounced, because hu probably a lot more people understand versus this shoe back into this furniture. Like it's hard to tell how to pronounce that, right? So it could be because of that, for the facilitating the pronunciation of it, or it could be the vanity of the scholar. They want to make it more sophisticated than necessary. So simplified, return to the origin. 形, we have 井, the well. How Chinese express well? Basically, it's the pound sign on your phone. And then we have a dot in there. So Chinese, as the agrarian society, is very specific about how they allot land and how they allot water, because water is one of the major productive input for agriculture, right? So this two horizontal lines, two vertical lines kind of divide the frame into 9 pieces. In the middle with the dot is the well, so that each of the 8 pieces have a direct connection to this well, kind of equally distanced, therefore equally distribute this access to water to different households. So that's how Chinese express what well is. And then well eventually means the root, because I would imagine there would be many conflicts regarding access to water, right? I can only imagine that. And so this having a strictly commonly agreed upon setup of access to well, like in this setup, eventually become the rule. Like that's the way things go here. Otherwise, there will be conflict. This is the solution, the optimal solution of well positioning, right? So that becomes a rule. The right side is a knife. So knife can be a weapon, right? When we have both the rule and the enforcement of the rule together, that means punish. So if you're not following the well positioning rule, you're going to be punished with this knife threatening to punish you. Okay, so locate, punish means you punish somebody on the spot. There's no jailing time for you. You get punished right away. And we can simply deduce that means you're executed on the spot at that location. And this is some sculpture in Germany, supposedly, that's supposed to be meaning an execution and humans trying to escape from that bloody image. And I find this is kind of horrifying. At the same time, it's not as bloody as showing a skeleton thing here, but you get an idea. This 处刑 simply means execution. Thank you for your time. See you another day.